This is really important when you're getting yourself ready for Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is a formal day. It's a serious, somber day. We're fasting. We're asking for forgiveness. We're getting forgiveness. But all of this has to be performed with joy, not frivolous celebration, but with true joy. We are joyful, we are happy, we are optimistic. In our relationship with God, there is always a way of patching it up. We can always fix it. We can always get back to our original innocent status. Without the joy, even the regret becomes a little damaging. But mainly, Rosh Hashanah, right? Yom Kippur, then there's Sukkot, then there's Simchas Torah. Sukkot is the time of rejoicing, the time of our joy. How do we get to the joy if Rosh Hashanah is really serious, Yom Kippur is really depressing, and then all of a sudden be happy? It's true, if you gain forgiveness, what a relief. If you can get rid of all of your guilt, now what follows is joy. But really, if you come out of Yom Kippur without joy, if during Yom Kippur there's no joy, if entering Yom Kippur there's no joy, will you really end up with a true joy on Simchas Torah? It seems like Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur are all preparation for Sukkot. The seriousness is all preparation for the joyousness. So there has to be some joy in Rosh Hashanah, there has to be some joy in Yom Kippur, and it culminates with the fullest of joy on Simchas Torah. So, like every other mitzvah, the mitzvah of tshuva, the mitzvah of patching up a relationship, the mitzvah of gaining forgiveness, of apologizing for sin, if it's a mitzvah, you do it with joy. Even tshuva can be performed with joy. And we underestimate the power of joy. People think if you cry, if you're miserable, if you're suffering, if you're begging, if you're desperate for forgiveness, then you'll get forgiveness. If you're desperate for health, if you're desperate for success, then God will give you success. If you're not desperate, He doesn't respond. What kind of a God is this? It's the opposite. When you come to God with joy, when you come to God with enthusiasm, you love life, you love being Jewish, you love being in a relationship with Him, that is much more powerful. He responds to that much better than to your krachzing and your miseries. And to think that the only time and the only way you can get His attention is by being miserable, that's miserable. No, it doesn't work. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're truly desperate, God forbid, of course that gets His attention. But that's not nearly as powerful as when you approach Him with joy, with enthusiasm, loving every minute of it. That's much more powerful. We underestimate the power of joy. So even the tshuva, even the regret, even the apology, even the tears on Yom Kippur should be enthusiastic, joyful, optimistic. We have a relationship with God. Come on. How can that not be joyful? And even if He's angry at you, isn't that the greatest compliment you can possibly get? He is affected by what you do. So yeah, of course, when I sin, well, yeah, it gets Him very angry. And when I'm crying and I'm miserable, it gets His compassion. Otherwise, He doesn't really care. That is so disturbed and disturbing. On the contrary, when you're happy and you're healthy and you're enthusiastic, that gets His attention even more than when you're crying and you're desperate. So you don't need to be desperate to come to shul on Yom Kippur. You don't need to be desperate to gain forgiveness. You need to be enthusiastic